Hi everyone. Today I'll be talking about EMG smart clothing and why this technology is becoming so important. The introduction. So, we move every day like walking, lifting, typing, but we don't actually see what our muscles are doing internally. So, that visible activity is what EMG smart clothing helps reveal. So, this technology brings the muscle activation to the surface and making it visible and understandable. It's incredibly useful not just for the athletes. But also for the physical therapy, rehabilitation, and the general movement analysis. Here you can see the image on the left shows an example of how sensor are embedded into the clothing to capture this muscle data while the person moves naturally. And why I choose EMG smart clothing is I choose this EMG smart clothing for a few key reasons. First, it's highly unique and it's a modern technology. The traditional EMG setup use the wireless and the gel electrodes, which can be uncomfortable and it's too restrictive. In contrast, the modern EMG clothing shows here is wireless and sleek and much more practical. And the main thing that stood out to me is how it makes hidden muscle activity visible. You can see exactly which muscle are firing, how strongly, and whether both sides of the body are working together. So this technology also provides credible visual feedback for rehabilitation and training. And we can also say the athletics therapists and even the everyday users can benefit from a real-time insights into their movement patterns. And another big reason I choose this topic is because the EMG starts clothing bridges the gap between the technology and the movement science. And despite its potential, it's still underused and often misunderstood, which makes it even more interesting to explore. Next. What EMG smart clothing is. So the EMG smart clothing is especially regular looking clothing, but with the built-in electromyography sensors. These sensors measure the electrical activity produced by muscles. What's special is that clothing is wireless and completely portable, so users can move naturally with being connected to the bulky equipment. The data collected is sent in the um, real time, and yeah, this makes the technology useful for many applications from improving the athletic performance to preventing injuries to helping the patients during the rehabilitation. And next, how EMG start smart clothing works. The process works like this. First, your muscle contract you can see here, and it can produce the electrical signal, and the fabric based electrodes in the clothing it detect the signal, and the small wearable module filters and the process the data, and it's directly send it to the wireless to a mobile app. And on the app the muscle activation is displayed in heat maps, graphs, and symmetry charts. Here you can observe those in the chat. And what you see is in what you see when you perform the movements like squats, lunges, or running. So the app shows which muscle are active and how intensity they are working, and whether both sides are balanced. Do you also get timing patterns and the activation curves? These turns invisible muscle activity into visible biofeedback. It can allowing the immediate moment correction. Here you can see the intensity, color coded, and left right symmetry comparisons. Also, you can observe, and on off timing patterns are there, and also activation curves during the moment. How to use it. So when it comes to how to use this electromyography smart clothing, it put on the shirts or shots, open the mobile app and run a quick calibration and perform your movement such as squats, whatever the movements you like lunges or running. So watch the activation patterns appear in real time and adjust the technique. It's based on what you see, and this live biofeedback gives you immediate cues based on the actual muscle activity. Next, why it matters in rehabilitation. In rehabilitation, the EMG smart clothing is invaluable. It reveals the hidden compensation patterns. Sometimes a patient looks like they are moving correctly. Here you can see, but EMG shows one side doing all the work here. Um, Clinicians can identify weak and delayed muscles on the side, and it can also track the movement and design precise exercises. It takes the guesswork out of the rehabilitation. And next, why it matters in sports performance. So for athletes, this electromyography clothing, it can improve the performance. Printers can see if hamstrings activate the early enough, and the lifters can detect if they are using the correct muscles, and the jumpers can measure the symmetry during the takeoff and landing. It allows the athletes coaches to correct the technique instantly during the real movement. Comparison, smart clothing versus the traditional EMG. Here you can see the traditional EMG users are uses wires, gel, and lab equipment. It's accurate but limited. Usually testing only it's one to two muscles, and you can also see the restricting moment. The EMG smart clothing allows the multiple muscle analysis during the dynamic activity and anywhere. And also in the real environments, it brings the EMG out of the lab and into the real life. And technology literacy, why this tool matters. This tool demonstrates the essence of technology literacy. The shirt alone does not improve the moment. The powers comes from interpreting the data and applying it in the rehabilitation and also training. This EMG smart clothing turns invisible muscle activity into visible and actionable information. It's on the evolution from the lab-based EMG to portable and real-world technology. Make it a perfect example of a technology in practice.